yogis. Welcome to your Maya Align practice. In this practice, we are going to be dropping into the energy of Kali, the goddess Kali, the dark angel, the dark devil. There's so many different stories about Kali, and the stories that we're working with tonight to connect to her energy and to embody her gifts and receive them is pertaining to not just time and the fullness of time and those cycles, but more specifically to her story of Kapala. And so we'll know Kapala, and we've heard of this from our breath of fire that we often take, and it's sometimes called Kapalabhati, that pumping of the low belly. And when we light that fire and connect to that Kapala, Kapala translates in Sanskrit to skull. And you may have heard of a Kapala as a skull cup, and it's literally a human head that has been severed and sliced. And yes, this is getting a little bloody and gory, but it is the history and the background and the lessons that we can take from this are so exciting to me. And hopefully you can gain a lot from this too. So Kali, the goddess, has multiple arms, and she is most typically depicted with these 4 arms. And her left side, and this is the other side that we're working with tonight, the cycles of time, but that giving and receiving. And so Kali is a mother figure. She both gives and receives, and we tonight will be embodying and embracing one of those gifts of Kali. And so in her left set of hands, as she has 2, in one left hand she carries a trishul or a trident, and in the other one is the Kapala, which is literally the human severed head. And so the story behind the Kapala is that the trident or the sword, her weapon of choice, depending on which picture you're looking at, which story you're looking at, and how she is depicted. The sword or the trishul is used as the weapon to sever the Kapala. And the Kapala, that human head, is symbolic of the human ego. The sword or the trishul is symbolic of divine knowledge. And so Kali's gifts that she bears, and her gift to you, is that knowledge and that divine wisdom, that to reach moksha, which is enlightenment. I get goosebumps when I talk about this stuff because it just lights me up. To reach that moksha and that liberation and that freedom, we need to literally sever, rephrase, not literally. We're not going around severing heads, although it might feel like it tonight in the hips. We're severing the ego. So our breath of fire, our Kapalabhati, is also referred to when our arms are extended as ego eradicator, skull shining breath, all of the names relating to that side of Kali. And so her left side, when we work with that, that's the gifts. That's what's available to us to receive. And the gifts that she offers is in the right-hand side, and we'll be playing with those in other practices throughout the week. For tonight, let's play with that gift of Kapala and look to cast your Kapala. Tonight's practice, casting Kapala. Useful tonight if you have a strap and a block. If you don't have a block, then a book will be handy. You'll be just using that for some support beneath the pelvis tonight, and also to elevate with the hand. And not many of us have straps. One of the best alternatives to a strap is a scarf, but you can use a towel, a jumper. You're just looking to find something to be able to link or to loop around the foot, to act as a little bit of stability and a little bit of extra help. When we're reaching and we're bending in these positions to reach these asanas, often the ego can get in the way. And if we have tools like a strap or whatever you want to work with tonight, a hand towel, a large towel, I like to use a scarf. That's my It's the most comfortable to use. You're just looking to already begin casting the ego and realize that when you're in these positions like your Paschimottanasana, you know, if you're not warm enough or you're not quite ready with your range of motion to be reaching and extending and grasping the legs, the toes with good posture, it's not worth, the ego gets in the way, and the cost that we can end up paying on the low back and the mid back, more so the low back, is just not worth it. You're better off to use a prop, lean into these props to assist us. And so with whatever props you're using tonight, just have them off to the side, ready, nearby you at the reach. And of course, it wouldn't be a practice of casting Kapala without a few rounds of our Kapalabhati. So we're going to get nice and warm now with that stoking of the breath and head straight into our postures. Now, peak posture tonight is a warrior 3, so working with the hips, and we're looking to set that up in all of the fullness of time as we work through all of the ranges. For now, a comfortable seat, a sukhasana, allowing there to be space between the ankles and the feet, and you might choose to elevate yourself if you like already on your block or your bolster. Just getting the hips often that little bit higher already begins to soften and invite an opening of the pelvis. Before you extend and raise your arms, our ego eradicator, we take our 4 fingers and connect them to the Venus mound, this meaty mound of the heart, the emotional mound. We're doing a good old thumbs up to cast the ego, and then we're going to be extending them out from the shoulders on a 45-degree angle. We work with 3 rounds of 30, and the entire focus is literally on casting the ego, casting the Kapala, skull shining breath. It's all the exhale, and you're just pumping the exhale with the low belly. The inhale happens naturally and organically, just like the cycles of time. Let's inhale here first of all and take 3 clearing breaths, palms to the thighs, spine tall, long and strong. Close down the eyes. Open your mouth, sigh it out loudly. Exhale, release. You are here, you have arrived. Inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Now I can't hear you this side, but I wish I could. One more breath, deep inhale. Open your mouth, loud exhale. Release. Next, inhale, extend the arms, find length 45 degrees. Connect the fingertips, release the thumb. Look at those beautiful big egos. Now to eradicate the ego, you hold here 30 rounds. Let's inhale deeply and release the exhale. Inhale. Open the mouth, exhale. Stay for just a moment, and tonight we're heading straight in for our second round. This moment in this pause in between with the eyes closed down, just tune in, become the observer to that stimulation that's already begun within your nervous system, within your Sushumna, your primary nadi channel, the spine. Preparing for your second round, all exhales leaving the nostril. Deep inhale through the nostrils to begin. 30 breaths. Inhale. Feel that body temperature rise, that stoking of the fire, staying in stillness and noticing now, end of second round, maybe the shoulders starting to burn. And this is where the ego really starts to play its little games with you. We are stronger, we are more powerful than the ego. We have freedom of will, of choice. We have one final round This is the round you cast that ego, you cast your Kapala, and you show it who's boss. Inhale now to close out your final round. 30 breaths, release now. Inhale. Exhale and slowly release the arms and take the fingertips to draw towards the pelvis, the side body, the mat beside you, keeping the spine tall, long and strong, and gently bow down the chin and allow that tingling sensation to ripple the back of your neck, maybe sensing that connection above and beyond the crown. And can you feel the tingling through your entire scalp? Your Kapala. And yogis, as you slowly blink open the eyes, take your time here to readjust. And it's quite common here to feel a little dizzy, a little lightheaded. So as you slowly blink open the eyes and raise the chin, back into alignment, just check back in with your space. The energy that shifts is large. We're going to remove ourselves from our props if you are elevated, taking your time to do this, and pop that now just off to the side of the mat. And we're going to keep our strap or scarf or towel close by and find your body long, heels nice and wide, and running the lengths of your mat, rounding out the spine, and allow the arms to extend overhead as you find a reach. Exhale and settle in. Heels are nice and wide, wrists are nice and wide. Crucifix style position here, out like a star, I should say. It's more of a star, isn't it, than a crucifix. Inhale once more, experiencing the energy from the tips of your toes to your fingertips. As you open your mouth and exhale, we're going to draw slowly the hands overhead and one knee in at a time. I'm finding the back body releasing to the mat, the lumbar spine especially making contact with the mat. And we're going to find a little rock and roll up and down the spine now. And you might just start with the thoracic spine, the mid-back still connected, and just taking a gentle little rock and roll. We want to eventually end up working our way all the way from our seat and taking the pressure points, the entire length of the pelvis all the way to and through to the sit bones, and then likewise overhead. And as you take the knees overhead and the feet overhead, you might settle in for just a moment with those toes overhead in a halasana or a plow pose style position, finding some length through the back body. And you can keep the knees bent or even find an extension of the legs overhead. And the last couple of rounds, maybe as you find that halasana, you find the toes touching down. Last rock and roll. Beautiful. And we find our way back to the back body with the feet now drawn in, and feet shoulder width apart, and just checking in with our alignment here to find the fingertips touching the Achilles, the ankles, and you just want them close enough so you can literally only just make contact with the tips of the fingers. Beautiful. And then from there, we're sinking into our Samavriti, our even breath day. With an inhale and a rise, your back and your hips are already begun warming up. So as you inhale, we're lifting the pelvis and we're looking to find alignment from the knees all the way through to the shoulders. And as you take that inhale, take the arms overhead, reaching the fingertips once more into the back of the room. Slowly lowering down, taking the hands with you, and we'll flip the palms today, offering the hands as if it were your skull cup. As you inhale, rise and sweep overhead. And as you exhale, slowly unraveling the spine, allowing the pelvis to be the last thing to reset back into that neutral spine, coming back to a little space, and you can check in with the hand beneath that little bridge that you're creating. Inhale, we draw to rise. Exhale, unravel and sink. Now we're looking to connect to that timing and the tempo tonight, and our count we're looking to achieve is symbolic with Kali. We're looking for just a 3 count, so it's a little more paced than what we would often take with a reset, a relaxation style classes. We're still looking to take these movements slowly and rhythmically, but also stay connected to that little bit of fire that you found with your Kapalabhati. Inhale, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3. We'll take 3 more rounds. Close down the eyes and really sink into this rhythmic breath as you inhale and exhale. Feel the flow and the float through you. And Kali with her trident or her trishul, those 3 points of the trishul, all symbolic. And Kali is the goddess of time. We'll take one final round here. And time has 3 components. And just like the mother, the maiden, and the crone, the beginning, the middle, and the end. She is creation. She is that patience in between the living, the life, the here, the now, and she is destruction. Hips settling back down, looking to find our way through all those 3 ranges tonight. Let's take an extension with the left leg and find the foot flexed and active. And from here, our palms now turn down to connect to the mat. We're coming back to our bridge, just 3 rounds each side. And this time, as you inhale and draw to rise, you're pressing into the right foot only and drawing into the bridge, but with that leg in a full extension. Exhale, rippling down the spine, and allow the heel just to connect before inhaling and drawing to rise once more. Feel the warmth and that activity of the hamstrings, the calves, the glutes. Depending on where you're tight, you might even feel this through the low back. Checking in with alignment of the hips. Exhale, lower down. We're going to take it one more time. Release the hands once you get to the top. Checking in with the alignment of the hips, making sure they're squared off. And then settle back down and in. That left leg now to the sky. Now your scarf or your strap or your towel, whatever you're using, you're going to take a bend of that knee just enough for you to be able to link that one over the ball of the foot. And if you've got a noisy strap like me, I like to take with a buckle if you're using a belt. I just realised I didn't suggest that. Hilarious that I'm using a belt or strap, and I didn't even suggest a belt or a strap. Went straight for the scarf. With the right foot connected to the mat, you should find the ability that you have to extend the sole of the foot to the sky a little more comfortable than it would be with that right leg extended. Now, our peak posture tonight is our warrior 3. And if you imagine we're flipped in reverse, the sole of your foot is active, spreading your toes nice and wide. Your foot right here, although reaching to the sky in reverse, would be connected to the earth and your mat. Your body and your pelvis, we're looking to find this exact alignment. Hips are squared off. But from here, what I want you to do is begin drawing some activity into this left leg by pressing away. And as you pull the belt or strap towards you, we're looking to find an isometric contraction just to bring awareness into this state. So if you were to pull more with the arms, the foot would move. If you were to press more with the leg would move. We want to find the leg in the exact same position, finding the push and the pull even, pushing through the foot and pulling with the hand, not so much that you cramp, and that's quite common too. Just find a nice even balance between the two. Now the ego here, when you do this with an assist, as in the teacher holding the ankle, So common for guys to try to push you or to force you to the ground with no ego here. We're finding an even and an equal balance, and that leg getting nice and warm. Let's take a bend in the knee, keep the strap where it is, and draw that knee all the way into chest for a nice little release through the hamstrings and the glutes. We're going to take that one more time. Same option, or looking to find an extension now with that right leg. Now you're going to find it be a little bit more challenging to keep the hips squared off. Our full version or variation of Warrior Three, this right leg flexed and strong. This would be floating in air and in space. Here for 3 breaths, inhale. As you exhale, meet that contraction. Mirror and match that contraction. Upper body and lower body. Balanced in those 3 components that our goddess Kali is here to gift us. The beginning, the middle, and the end. Feel your core contracting. One final breath, assisting. And then slowly take a bend of the knee and draw it back in now, full Upanasana, wind relieving pose. And as you release that strap, we'll take that just off to the side. I'm going to take the knee into the chest and give yourself a little extra hug. Right knee into the chest. And take a rock and a roll once more up and down the spine. And find a seat. Beautiful. How's those hammies? Center of the mat. So good. We're staying with that left leg to extend, but we're going to be finding a seat and some support. So have that block nice and handy, and finding a Virasana, a half hero. So this time your right quad, we want to pull it out of the way. So you're going to take it behind, and you'll find to square off the hips, you'll need to place the block just under that left sit bone. So when you're in your seat, your right sit bone is being supported by the ankle, the heel of that right foot, and the left sit bone is being supported by your book or your block or your pillow or your cushion, whatever prop you're using tonight. That foot stays flexed once more. We're going to take the arms now to extend and inhale overhead, reaching and finding length and space, left toes in that flex state. As we inhale here, we're just looking to reach towards the sky, towards the roof. Gaze stays neutral, head stays in alignment. So we're not looking up at all and finding a bend in the neck. Our spine stays in that neutral position, and this will be the exact position we find in our Warrior Three. Exhale, release the arms. And now release that left sole of the foot in to find a little bend. We're going to lean and rock the body weight just a little further forwards now, so that you can draw into the ball of the foot and take a little rock and roll to find a release through the calf and through the ankle. And then settle back in onto that block and support. We'll come back to the strap. One more posture here in your seat, and the strap we're now taking around the sole of the foot to assist us to get an elevation here. Now back out to where we were. Foot's extended, this time spine tall, long and strong again, back into that neutral position, eyes straight in front. Difference being the contraction and the collective use of muscles we found earlier. We had the leg at rest. It was not working. When you're standing in your Warrior Three, it is far from at rest. There are many muscles working to assist. Inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to use the assistance of your arms to pull your leg into a floating position, and notice the want to draw back into the back body. I can see you're all leaning back. So we'll take a soft bend in the elbow. And straight away, you should start to really tune into and notice the muscles that are required to contract, the muscles that are required to assist here in that left hip. Can you feel a deep activation and a burning sensation and maybe a cramping deep in that left pelvis. Yep. Our hip flexor working. Let's take a soft bend in the knee now, walking up the strap, and we'll take a release through the hamstrings, drawing forehead towards the shin. Let's release that leg. Left hammy is well prepped. Let's bring it across to the right, releasing out of, that beautiful deep, compression of that right ankle. Block behind you, strap to the right, your prop. Finding your way down to the back body. Left leg nice and long, and draw that right knee in. Yes. So beautiful, nice release, gentle to begin. And let's take now and the feet back nice and wide, and find that right leg in an extension. We're going to inhale and find that sweep and that lift, I should say, of the pelvis. And as you inhale now, we're drawing the right leg to draw to that alignment for our bridge pose. That right foot's nice and flexed, and you could use the hands for stability or just use them on the pelvis to check in. Let's slowly unravel. We're just taking this 3 times, touching down and really tuning in, becoming the observer in tonight's practice of what muscles are contributing. And you should find that left hamstring and that left glute now that was just taken through a beautiful long range, now actively shortening and contracting and holding you stable. And let's slowly draw it down to release. I think that was 3 times. And from here, right knee goes into the chest, and we'll reach for that strap now on this side and take it over the ball of the foot. And finding a grip and extending the leg to the sky, sole of the foot towards the sky. And if you had a mirror handy, you would be at right angles at the pelvis. And you can get a good guide just by looking up the length of your leg, however, as to what that nice 90-degree alignment looks like and feels like. And from here, coming back to that active contraction, even and equal balance, drawing from the hands towards the body and drawing the heel actively back down towards the mat without allowing for any movement. And Kali gifting you here her blessings to release the ego, to find a balance between that giving and receiving. One more breath in this active contraction. And if you do find a cramp at all, just back out of it for a moment. Keeping the hands on the strap, draw the knee into the chest. And you can take this really nice and deeply for your counter. I love taking the knee all the way out the side. It's really beautiful in the pelvis. Coming back up to take this one more time, elongating now that left leg, active left leg though, so flexing the left foot, right sole of the foot to the sky. Let's inhale. Our 3 breaths, exhale, coming back to that active contraction. And as you are observing your body and watch the pelvis, ensure the hips stay squared. Watch the shift in the active muscles. With that left leg now elongated. One more breath, maybe closing down the eyes and really tuning in to any muscles that are speaking to you that are super tight tonight. Right knee draws into the chest, using the strap to really draw that foot in. Feel free to take any little angle there at the pelvis that feels good. Let's release the strap, take both knees into hug and draw to rise. Maybe take a couple of rocks and rolls and find your seat and find your prop. And this time that left leg draws in behind you, and we're elevating our right hip to find that even and equal aligned pelvis. Left sit bone supported by the heel. So that left side is our hero pose. That's half Virasana or Ardha Virasana. Ardha is one in Sanskrit. Ardha Virasana. So you're half a hero. You'll be a full hero soon. And from that right position, we're going to find our little runner's rock, runner's lunge as you roll over that ball of the right foot, just releasing the calf. It took a deep compression before the ankle when you were nestled in on that Ardha Virasana on the right. So just notice if there's any points within the top of the foot or the ankle that are really quite tight tonight, because when we come to shift this as we are from the position in time, 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock, as we draw up to our 12 o'clock, that's 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, isn't it? 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, as we shift that to 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, we're going to be relying on the feet and relying on that stability. So just watch any areas and be wary of any areas that are already speaking to you tonight. Let's take a roll of the strap. Release the ball of the foot from the mat and find that support beneath the ball. And then we'll slide that heel on out to straight. Oh, we didn't do our prep. Just release the strap for a moment. It's already ready to go. Just want you to do that one little check-in first, noticing the difference when we're working with active contraction versus the passive without the counterbalance. So exactly as you are, but just for a couple of rounds of breath, take an inhale and find that lengthened space as if you were working in your warrior three. Your hands would be extending and reaching actively. Shoulders and back and chest would all be actively reaching towards 3 o'clock. And that right leg would be down towards 6 o'clock. Stable on the earth. And with the eyes closed down, take one final breath here, just noticing the strength that's required through that mid-body, that center point, is your axis. Now reaching for that strap. And as we find our counterbalance, and we come back into release the heel from the mat. And finding that leg straight, long and strong. Notice the tendency to rock back into the spine and counter that with the arms. So drawing the chest forward. And if you feel like you're straight, you can still come a little further forward, everybody. That's it. Good little adjustments. It's funny with this one, without any mirrors or a check-in, you can feel like you're straight, but you want to really feel the muscles of the erector spinae, those muscles that support the spine, really firing here. So you should feel the shift from without the counter all through the front body. When you draw into the counter, you should now be feeling it all through the back body. If you can connect to the muscles that are required to switch on, and find that true alignment. Let's take a bend here. Release. Walking up that strap just a little. And now release now through the hamstrings and the glutes, is maybe keeping a soft bend still in that knee, but taking the heel now to the sky, and you're just working through a soft passive range of motion stretch here as you draw and forehead in towards the shin. And finding a little bit of length through the hamstrings, the backs of the knee, the ligaments where the hamstrings attach. And when you feel ready, release it back to the mat. Oh, yogis, we are shifting in time and space. We begun. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I have to make sure I get these times right. We have shifted upright. We're now taking our third and final shift and drawing to stand. Let's release out of these feet. Taking a release of the toes or ankles as you need to, maybe taking a couple of little malasana squats. We must be kind to the feet. And we'll draw to stand, keeping that block or your support nice and close and handy. So we're going to be using that now for support. Now, just want to quickly show you a Dakasana. We're feeling into the stable support through one foot and finding a tilt of the pelvis. The full expression is the arms out and extended. So to reach that point, yes, we've got the tilt in the pelvis. So we're going to take a couple of tilts through that now, but we've also got options through the arms. So again, as we've done in our seat and our legs, we're playing through that once more. So feet shoulder width apart to begin here, and really spread the toes wide, already connecting to each toe. Beautiful, I can see you all now. Lights back on. So good. Sorry, that was probably a bit noisy your end. And we'll take an inhale and reach the arms overhead, imagining that you do have your body in that full long line and that extension. Don't take the eyes to the sky though. Keep the head neutral. Eyes are straight in front. Now coming back to those connections that you found before in your seat, but now active front body and active back body. So from here, soft breath to the upper lobes of the lungs. No need to deeply inhale or exhale with these ones, but really feel into, beautiful, that sinking of front body and back body. And from here, we're going to be taking from this position a tilt at the pelvis. Pivoting at the pelvis ever so slowly, and we'll take 3 breaths to do this. What I want you to do is maintain that alignment and that positioning through the belly and through the core, and allow our pivot point to be the pelvis. We're going to draw down to halfway only and stay here for 3 little pumps. They're tiny, tiny little adjustments, and we're just teasing the hips, teasing the belly and the low back. Take 1 more. And then as you inhale, draw back, not beyond, but just straight to that long line. Reaching back for 12 o'clock, eyes straight in front. The tendency to want to look up like our flows. Oh. We're going to take this 3 times, each time taking it a little further through time. That was a tongue twister. Inhale. Slowly exhale, pouring forwards. Find your pivot, working through 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, sit in 3 o'clock, come back to 2 o'clock. We're slowly going to draw down to 4 o'clock, a much deeper pivot here. Inhale, come back to 3 o'clock. Slowly draw all the way down to 5 o'clock. Inhale, draw back to 3 o'clock. All the way down 6 o'clock, hanging the head. Oh. Shake out the neck and take a little sway, allowing the fingertips to run across the mat. And so often in our practice, if we're working not as commonly through Hatha, but especially with our vinyasa flows, we take these postures and we're not attuned to observe so intensely and so deeply to our alignment and what muscles are contributing, what joints are contributing. Let's slowly unravel the spine. And before we draw to rise, take a roll of the shoulders and then sweep the sky. We're going to take that just 1 more time now that you know what you're doing and you know where you're going, working through the time straight in, and really try and close down the eyes this round and tune into what muscles are required to contribute here for this posture. Inhale, find that reach, 12 o'clock. Slowly lower, exhale, working your way through time, the fullness of time. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, pause at your 3, rebound back to 2. And slowly extend. Are you still pivoting at the hip, finding the spine nice and long? Create some extra length here. Beautiful. Ashley, sinking through the chest and shoulders, slowly drawing back through. Gemma, same with yours. Draw the shoulders back nice and strong. Lowering it down all the way, working through to 6 o'clock, completely release and round out through the back when you finally get there. You can keep a soft bend in the knees, and you should really be feeling the hamstrings active, the glutes, the hips, the low back, the belly, the chest, the shoulders, the entirety of your body. Yogis, from this position, you're going to slowly unravel the spine all the way back to stand. Take a roll of the shoulders. All joints well and truly prepared. We're going to take our first full variation of our Virabhadrasana 3 using our prop, our block, to give you a little bit of extra height. And we'll place that about half a meter in front of you as if you were taking a tabletop position, that space. And checking in with your alignment, whatever prop you're using. As you lean forward and make contact with that, you want it sitting directly underneath the shoulders. And some of you are side profile, like M, yours is bang on. I can still get a good idea anyway. Gemma, bring yours back in a little bit closer. And deep bend in the knees for yours, Gem. You're quite tight in the upper back today. So take it even deeper in that bend in your knees. And now hands back on the block for me. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. Good alignment. Anna, yours is bang on. You girls are looking good. All right, beautiful. From here, holding on to that block, we're going to square off and find that block in alignment with the left foot, spreading the toes nice and wide and feeling into the stability of all 5 toes, the heel, all 4 corners of the foot, arch active. We're going to just draw to the tips of the toes on the right and already feel that change and that shift in alignment with the pelvis. And take that leg back and just do a toe tap about half a meter back behind you. Can you feel the hamstrings switching on, the glutes switching on? Everybody, yes. We're going to slowly take our way now through time using that back leg, our right leg. And at the moment, drawn back, you're already back at, I have no idea what time, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, probably 7 o'clock, let's say 7. We're going to bring it up to 8 and drop it back down to 7. Bring it all the way up to 9 and bring it back down to 7 to rest. We'll take that 2 more times. Bring it up just to 8 and drop it down. Can you feel that left hip activating? And draw it all the way up to 9, finding that long line through the left leg. Drop it back down 1 more time, this time all the way through, nice and slowly, finding that full extension. Hips squared off. The right toes pointing back to 9 o'clock. Hips in alignment. And you're releasing your counter for this one. You're slowly going to drop the toes across the body, hands meet the mat, take a bend in that right knee and settle it in outside of the left ankle. And you'll find a seat here. Beautiful. And then that left, I'm getting good with my lefts and my rights. That left foot's just coming across and releasing to find a Gomukhasana. Your cow face pose with the knees in alignment, an external rotation at the hip, and it should be a beautiful deep release even just from your seat. And for probably most of us, that'll be enough. If you do feel as though you're in your seat and you're not getting a release, then take a little walk down and allow maybe the belly to connect to the thigh, maybe the chest to connect, or you might have a little bit more space tonight being so nice and warm. And you can drop all the way down to the elbows, hang the head wherever you are and find a release through the back of the neck. And feel the weight of your head hung heavy. Beautiful. And let's slowly draw up out of your seat, yogis. You've done so well. Let's take that to the other side, reversing first of all our little pretzels. Left foot back to meet the mat. Hands forwards and pressing into the shin on the right. And then you're simply taking the hips to the sky and resetting that right foot down. From this position, toes spread nice and wide. And finding your stable base. Checking back in with the alignment of the block and making sure you've got enough space between the pelvis and the shoulder. From here, and draw to the toes on the left and check in with the hips. Do they still feel squared off? Can you still feel that active pelvis, the active hip, the active right leg? And set it back into the toes, reaching towards that 7 o'clock point now with the left side. A little more warmth through the hips. Staying nice and stable on your support. We'll slowly release the toes out of the block and find 8 o'clock. Notice any tendencies to want to lift or drop into the hip. Keep them squared off. Stay strong. Drop back down 7 o'clock. Toes meet the mat. All the way up 9 o'clock. Feel the glutes switch on, the low back switch on. And that right hip especially should be firing. And slowly draw it back down. We'll take that one more time. And find your 8 o'clock. And pulse back to 7, resetting, finding balance. Drive it all the way through 9 o'clock, finding that full alignment of your supported Virabhadrasana 3. Left toes now across the mat. Take the hands to the mat, dropping into that back knee, feeling support now on that left shin. Sink into your seat, and you're in a Marichiasana here, and then we're releasing out of that right foot now and finding a little pretzel cross of our Gomukhasana. That beautiful external rotation now through the right hip. Staying nice and tall here and noticing any imbalances and differences with this hip. I know some of us have got some imbalances that we're working with. And for me, especially, this side is so much worse, so much better. Or slowly taking a walk down, inviting the belly, the heart, maybe the forearms. But wherever you are, invite the head to hang and surrender. And when we feel into those burning sensations we experience, the mental chatter, the chittavritti, is the voice of our ego, and it'll tell you so many little lies. It'll tell you to escape, run and hide, or it'll tell you to stand and fight and be strong. And your Virabhadrasanas, your warriors, your warrior 1, 2 and 3 are some of the best opportunities to meet that egoic mind, and without any judgment. We just watch and we notice these little patterns. We're going to slowly draw out of this release, and you have one final round to take both sides. This side. This time we're going to take it unsupported. Stay with the support if you feel like you've met your match tonight. Remember, there's no ego here. Straps are still out of play. Blocks may be now out of play as well. Allow the right sole of the foot to meet the mat, fingertips to press, draw the hips high, find the feet squared off, and we'll unwind the spine, taking a counter to find the spine nice and tall, long and strong. And this time sweep the sky, fingertips reach, and find your 12 o'clock. And this time we pour the body forwards from the pelvis, finding that pivot all the way down. And beautiful, into that 3 o'clock point. Stay here, one breath. And fingertips draping down, maybe to find that support of the block, or maybe you now take it all the way down to the mat, load into the left leg and take your time to release into the toe. Find 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Stay here with the support, or now draw your hands into your Kali Mudra, which is your little Charlie's Angels weapon here, your little gun to your heart. 3 fingertips wrapping, creating the bind, the index fingers extending. And stay here, or take the arms into the full expression of Virabhadrasana as you reach actively. And the right foot towards the back of the mat, the fingertips towards the front of the mat. Exhale, drape it down forward, fold your Uttanasana as you surrender. Take the elbows and find a sway. Long, strong, active. contraction there, posture, the asana. Your Virabhadrasana 3 is one of the strongest standing postures that we will ever take. And not just because it's the strongest that we'll ever take, it's one of the strongest ones that exists. Let's unravel the spine. Slowly unwinding. Take the shoulders into a roll and maybe bring a smile to the face, knowing this is your last active posture. Inhale. Fingertips to rise, eyes aligned, chin aligned. Slowly find your pivot at the pelvis, pouring the body forward, slowly working your way through time, experiencing the fullness of time. Stay for a breath at 3 o'clock. As you exhale, our fingertips meet the mat, this time rocking into that right foot. Release the toes and find 7 o'clock. Work through 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Find the hips squared off, releasing out of those fingertips and maybe finding your balance and your way to Kali at your heart. Active leg reaching towards the back of the room. Woo! So good. And then finding that extension with the arms. If you're exploring the full variation, know that this is when the ego is going to scream the loudest. I'm done, get out, I'm over it, this is so challenging. My quads are burning, my glutes are burning. Exhale, release out and drape. Find your Uttanasana, your forward fold, and take your swing, your sway, your release. And the little tricks that the ego plays with us. We all have our own little angel and devil, and they speak to us in different ways. And it always, as always, throughout our postures, in our practice, we're learning, we're evolving, and we're simply becoming the watcher of our mind. And maybe tonight your ego was telling you to run, but equally so the ego can be the one standing you to stay and fight, even if it's at the cost of your physical body. Take the fingertips to the mat, and we're going to rock in now to take our seat and draw back to stand, just releasing the ankles and the feet. So your little yogi squat, knees can stay nice and close this time though. And take the hips to the sky, and we'll just take that a couple of times, loosening up the feet, the toes, as we slowly find our way back down onto the mat. And once you've taken a few little pulses from that Uttanasana into your Malasana, we're now going to allow the knees to drift out, and this is a beautiful release for the low back. Your Malasana squat, but not a full Malasana with the heels flat. You can stay up in the toes to get a bit of extra height and space. So it's like a full froggy squat here. And you're just going to take a walk and really drape down and surrender into this one, hanging the head. With the knees right out nice and wide, you just want to hang through the belly, hang through the rib cage, and really allow the low back to round out, the back of your neck to round out too. I'll hang here for just a couple more breaths. And then slowly, keeping the chin drawn into the chest, we'll draw back up to our Malasana. And invite the heels down now, full Malasana. Sit bones to the mat if you weren't already there. If you felt like me. Let's take an extension of these legs. Oh my goodness. They have supported you well tonight to unwind the spine and to find our final counter for our core from our seat, our Dandasana, our staff pose. Let's take the flesh out from beneath the glutes, buttocks, the pelvis, just to really feel into that connection of the sit bones. And we'll take our inhale and fingertips to the sky once more. And this time as you exhale and pour forwards, I want you to imagine you're still standing, taking that pivot at the pelvis and feel the length of the hamstrings providing you this space. Feel the length of the low back providing you this space, and continue on through time. And rather than rounding out, you're offering your blessings, palms open, ever so slowly all the way forwards until you have found your way to the mat. And when you do, once more, hang the head. And this time from your full surrendered Paschimottanasana, can take a little rub of the neck. And if this was a class face-to-face, I'd come around and give you some beautiful oils on the back of the neck. So maybe give yourself that little bit of love now, finding some contact points through that cervical spine and through the upper traps, through the back of the neck. Really just inviting back in that flow in preparation for our Savasana. Releasing the hands and the little massage and rub and contact. We're going to keep the chin down to chest and slowly draw the backs of the hands along the lengths of the mat. As you keep the low back rounded, we're going to ever so slowly, one vertebra at a time, attempt to lower the back body, invite the back body, meeting each vertebra with contact, tuning to and the muscles, the sensations of the front, controlling, holding, assisting until you eventually find the entire body in full support. And your Savasana. Yogis are full 3 phases of a practice is not complete without your phase of destruction. And it's no mistake that this posture you take in your Savasana is called corpse pose. Although I don't want you freezing like a little corpse. So if you do have a jumper, another layer or a blankie, please feel free to reach for that now. Maybe you would like to put the lights down low or take an eye pillow. Maybe you would like some socks to keep the toes nice and warm. Whatever little luxury you feel like gifting yourself tonight, make any final adjustments, ensuring that you've got space through the pelvis, the heels nice and wide, and checking in with that deep expansive breath as you inhale and feel the lungs spread laterally across the mat. Are your arms wide enough that there is no contact? If not, adjust them now. Now palms open, ready to receive this beautiful dark angel of the night, Kali, the dark angel of death. Such a beautiful, positive, renewing energy that she gifts us here. And with the eyes closed down, take your final conscious breath as you deeply inhale. Feel that support beneath you. And as you exhale, have faith and trust, knowing that you are here, you are home. And this is the phase before your new beginning. And settle into your Savasana. And Yogi says, the sun sets each day, and we connect via our corpse pose to that energy of Kali within, inviting the beautiful gift that Kali has to offer us. And that death and that dying can be perceived as such a negative if you're unable to attune to those polarities, just like the setting and rising sun, the giving and receiving, and those cycles. And just as fire destructs to pave the way to allow for regeneration and a rebirthing, we wake each day, and you wake from your practice, from your savasana, regenerated. And Kali, in her fullness of time, gifts us creation. And gently take some movement to the fingers, to the toes, and in your own time, find your way, maybe via the side body or that little rock and roll up and down the spine, whatever's comfortable for you tonight, to find your way to meet me on your seat. And keeping those eyes closed down, we find our hands in prayer at heart center. But in honor and respect of the gifts that Kali offers, we're going to find our Kali Mudra. And to do so, wrap those three fingers, leaving the thumb and the index finger elevated. The thumb and that emotional mound, the Venus mound of our palm connecting to our heart. As you inhale, feel those sit bones connecting to the mat and the earth beneath you, and the crown extending towards the sky. As you exhale, our chin draws down, bowing in reverence and respect to that energy of Kali that resides here deep within you at your heart center. Her lesson is one of giving and receiving. It is creation, it is destruction in all of its fullness, the fullness of time, and the cycles of time. And we are so deeply connected to Kali. Can you feel her? Can you sense her within you? And inhale and draw the crown to rise, and gently blink open the eyes and find your prayer once more. And yogis, thank you so much for sharing with me and each other the beautiful energy of Kali within you and honoring those cycles as you leave the four corners of your mat. And may you continue to see the beauty in all of those cycles, the beauty in the death and destruction, just as much as we invite it in creation. Namaste.